I should have recorded myself making it, but this is the coffee and walnut cake, which is nearly complete. I've nearly finished the decorations, which is Carla's birthday cake. So I hope she enjoys it, and possibly she'll put this into her vlog. It's reasonably early in the morning, and I thought you might be interested to see these rather attractive spider webs, or more specifically the effect of morning dew on the spider webs. So there's that one there. I don't know how well that's coming up on the camera, but it's rather attractive. But the one that really struck me was this extraordinary formation which a spider has built in a fern.
Good morning and welcome to another week. Things are moving forward with the old knees, so I'm a little bit more mobile, getting better every day. I'm actually in some proper outdoor gardening clothes for the first time in a month. Anyway, so I'm down this way. So one of our water tanks that supplies our main concrete tank, our house's tap water. We don't drink it, it's not filtered yet, but it's still useful to have. It's what we wash our dishes in, it's what we bathe in. So it's very important. All our water's self-generated, we don't have mains water. But behind me, let me spin you around so that I can control what you're looking at better. This is the tank which collects water off this part of our library's roof, and then it feeds from a pipe into this pump. And then the pump feeds the water up this pipe to our concrete tank, which you can't really see, but it's just there behind that plant. This pump is a bit ropey, a bit dodgy, not quite working properly. So we're going to see if we can fix it or replace it. We've got a spare, but we've never used the spare. But we're also potentially going to look at if it's possible to send this pipe under the library, because that was our intention all along. This isn't the ultimate solution. The ultimate solution is for the pump to go somewhere down on the ground. This is such an important part of our water management now. As I say, we're off grid for water. So anything that goes into the house, we have to self-generate from the sky and then pump it up to our tank where it goes into the house through gravity. This is our spare pump. Apparently it's a cheaper pump, but it's newer. They're both second hand. We've never used it, we've never started it, and I don't know how long it has been since it's been used. But the other pump I just showed you is very, very difficult to start. It's becoming harder and harder to the point I can't actually start it anymore, and that's no good to us. We need to be independently sufficient so that we can both do the important things. We tried the alternative pump out and it was seemingly pretty easy to start. Will started it, I haven't tried, and probably can't really with my bad knee. Anyway, as you can see, we've decided to keep it on the veranda after all, because there is just too much wood under here, and that's moving it to elsewhere is going to have to wait. So we know it starts, and Will's just reattaching the hoses, the one from the tank and the one to the tank, and then we'll start it again, and fingers crossed water doesn't pour everywhere and it pumps our water for us. Will's filled it up. Even little Vita's coming to watch Autumn Walk. Hard to tell with cats. If this doesn't go to plan, you'll see a really quick cut any second now. That went pretty well. The the concrete tank's full of water now, it's pouring out of it. What we're going to do is send the original pump, which is a really good quality Davy pump, off to someone who can maybe fix it. It's very handy to have a backup. I'm now en route to another task for today. So forgive the jumpiness, by the way, that's just how I walk at the moment. And you're having to walk like that with me too. I'm off to the snake shed, which is just in front of me. Because now that we've done the pumps, and that was much faster than we thought, we're now going to bring up some gravel. Will's going to bring up some gravel to the snake shed. And my trusty rake, I'm going to spread it out. So divide and conquer. There are things I can't do, but there are things I can do. For those of you who don't know, I'm currently inside aforementioned snake shed. We called it that because before we cleared it out, there was a big box here that snakes used to hibernate under, hence all that straw. And these are red-bellied black snakes. What we want to do though is we cleared it out of most of the rubbish that had just been dumped here by previous occupants of the property and us. And we want to turn this into additional storage for a lot of the things in my workshop over there, my potting shed. They don't really need to be over there. We started by slightly trying to level the floor, and now what we're going to do is bring up some gravel and just try to make it a little bit more even, so that then we can start putting up our shelving. First load's down, second load, 3 loads, 4 loads. What we're going to do is sprinkle some cement on it, put a bit more gravel, give it a water, and hopefully that'll set nice and solid, ready for us to start building our shelves. Onwards with yet another task. I was fortunate enough to get a voucher for a hardware store which has a garden centre, a bit like Homebase or B&Q, for my Christmas present, and I, for various reasons, only just got around to being able to go and pick some plants up, so this is what I have chosen. I have places for these plants in my mind. I haven't just bought random plants. So I got this one for the bed in front of the living room window. I wanted something a lot more along the lines of a shrub that would have a longer flowering period, so I went with that. I've got this box, which is one of the larger evergreen plants I'm going to put in a donut bed. Need to decide what shape to topiarise that into. And then I've got this gardenia, which is to go in a pot near Will's workshop. Come down to my potting shed. Sun's come out to accumulate my tools. This is a little hand trowel, got that from the supermarket. This is one of my favourite tools. It's my tiny little spade, which is awesome. I think it was already here. My manure to make my dung donuts. A little bit of specialist potting mix when I put the new plant out in the pot. And my seaweed solution, which I always use to water newly planted plants with. Off I go. 1 down. Number 2 in its dung donut and wallaby cage. This plant will grow sort of 1.5 meters to 1 wide. So this ought to fill that space lovely. And be a nice foil to the yellow of that plant. Last but not least, all done. Fingers crossed. Isn't that cool? I just spotted a huge one up there. That's the size of that one. This is the Mac Daddy. Beautiful. As you would have seen yesterday, we've been working on shifting this pile of gravel. We had to wait a little while till my knee was recovered so I could help. And this is what we're down to. So this we think will be more or less our final load from this amount of gravel. This is 4 tons. I shifted 2, we've shifted 4, and we're probably going to buy in another 2 or 3 just to finish the job. Because Will's home, which he wasn't when I shifted the 2 previously, we're able to use the big trailer and Will's car rather than the mower and the little trailer. So it's helping us achieve this faster. And we're pretty much almost there. So as I say, get this laid down, get some more gravel, whack that down, then the finishing touches, then the job ought to be a good one.
While we're in the process of filling holes in our drive, I thought I would show you an alternative way of dealing with this problem. This is the main drive I'm on now, which isn't part of our property, but it's adjacent to our property, and it has similar issues with the drive and holes, potholes in the drive. There's one, for example, which hasn't been filled. But a neighbour is responsible for filling the holes in this part of the drive and has used a solution which is slightly different to ours. Rather than buying gravel, you get old pieces of crockery or tiles, or in this case roof tiles, and you put them in the potholes and then smash them up with a sledgehammer. I have helped do this a while back on part of this drive. It does have advantages. You get a very solid surface which is less likely to wash away. It does have disadvantages though. Partly you've got to smash up crockery with a sledgehammer, which is quite hard work, and also you do get some pretty sharp shards of tile which can do a bit of damage to your tyres. But as vehicles drive over the new surface, it does get further crushed up until you end up with a pretty decent surface. A compromise would be to do this and then cover it with a thin layer of gravel, which is sort of what Carla has done, putting tiles into the potholes on our property.
All done, all gone in the back of the trailer, ready for spreading. You find me here about to start a very, very small project. This is the outside wall of our house. This is our bathroom window. And quite often when we're in the bathroom, we can hear this scratch, 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 because rats get in the wall. And I was trimming the lawns and around the edge of the house to keep things tidy, and I found this quite sizable hole that has been sort of gnawed away and chewed out at the side of the house, and I'm assuming because of where it's located and its size, this is where the rats are getting in. So I've got some of this gutter guard, which is in the gutters, you might have seen when I'm cleaning them, but I also put it around the outside of the house. The house is a mud brick and then it's rendered with this lime plaster. But because of that, it needs to be able to breathe, so there's this sort of perimeter of stones, and then below that, that's a row of air bricks. And I didn't want to completely seal that up. Obviously the house does need to breathe, being made of mud. But that's a prime location where if a bushfire comes through, burning embers could get in the holes of the air bricks and get under the house and set it on fire from beneath. So I've tried to protect the house in this respect. Don't worry, we are one of our major projects is going to be re-rendering the house. You can see that it's a bit dodgy now in places, but because it's mud brick you can't just do it in any old way. So we're waiting for one particular product which will enable us to make the mortar, to render the walls again and then give the house a nice lick of paint. However, that's down the line. What I'm going to do now is try and block up this hole with some more of this gutter guard. There we go. May not be pretty, but I hope it's effective. I hope it'll be tricky for a rat to pull that out. Rats are clever. I like rats. I used to have a pet rat. I've got nothing against rats. I just don't really want them inside the walls of my house, potentially chewing wires and causing me all sorts of problems with the electrics. So hopefully this will keep them at bay. And don't worry, there are no rats currently in the house. They only really come in winter. So I haven't just incarcerated a rat and left it to die a horrible slow death. We're currently rat free, so this is preventative.